10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Good luck, studio.
Oh, it's that time again. Paul Chandler's gonna start this whole thing he does. It's called the Shy Life Podcast. It's probably gonna start any minute now. Anyway, I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, sit back and relax.
Oh, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
All I wanted was a pie, and then I hatched out of an egg.
Okay, bring the mic over. He's ready to record.
It's the quiet ones you've got to watch, you know.
Is it metaphorical? Is it deep? Is it deep?
Good boy. He's not all that shy, is right. Shoo.
Blimey, Governor. It's the Shy Life Podcast.
539.
Hello, and welcome to get another episode of the Shy Life Podcast with me, Paul the Shy Yeti. How are you doing? Oh, I'm all right. Dealey's here, but I'm not sure if he's in a talking mood. You've got fur hanging out of your mouth. Dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear, he's a sweet little monster, aren't you? Not going to speak, though? No? No. I'll dub a cat sound on. No. Gonna have to dub a cat sound on, listeners. So what's this episode about? Well, it's about how when you go to flea markets, sometimes you can pick up little gems, and sometimes you can pick up things of a more suspect nature, which is what happened. Yeah. Anyway, let's run that theme music, and when we come back, I'll tell you more about it. Run that theme music.
Darling, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
Yes, but it's positive things, though. The highlights, the Shy Life.
You won't find a cast of characters like this everywhere.
Hello, Paul.
I'll go anyway for a potato.
Delicious.
Hello, campers. How are you?
You quite like a big fan, don't you, Paul?
Go Shy Yeti.
Oh, I hope he hasn't found out my secret. You think he has?
If you thought that was bad, just listen to this.
Oh, I can't wait for it to begin.
It's the Shy Life Podcast.
I like that.
Yeah, I am strangely drawn to Yeti Uncle John's ankles as well.
But has the Shy Life Podcast slowed down? I don't think so.
It's all gooey and easy. Yum, 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 yum.
Has anyone seen my hot sausage?
So, listeners, yes, what happened? Well, I was over at Tallulah's house, catching up with Martin, Martin and Tallulah, the other day. Well, I noticed she got some new art on the wall. And, it was quite a shock. Not only the people who were on the painting, but who it appeared had painted them. Oh dear. Join me as we head over to Tallulah's house for the full story.
Oh, my darling, I'm sorry I'm so busy rushing around. Oh, dear. The students are still in, you see. Oh, dear. I'll be back with you in a minute, Paul.
That's all right, Tallulah. Martin's here. Oh, dear. She's so busy.
I know, Paul. She's always running around. But, dear. She'll take a rest one day.
Yeah. I do love her music school. It's so nice. It's doing so well as well.
Oh, yeah. It's just doing better and better each year. I'm very proud of her.
And so you should be, Martin. What's that painting on the wall? I've not seen that before, have I?
No. It's something she picked up at a flea market we went to the other day. Yeah, she really likes it. I don't know much about art. Well, other than being an artist model for August, of course.
Of course, yeah, his muse.
His muse, yes, I like to say that. But you know, I'm too modest.
Yeah. Those people look familiar, though.
What? The people, the women in the picture?
Yeah, and actually the style as well. Let me have a closer look.
I don't think it's worth a great deal. She paid about 20 quid at the flea market. She just liked the colours.
Yeah, but Martin, those faces are very familiar.
What do you mean?
Well, I recognise them somewhere. I can't think where. I don't like to scare you, Martin, but the signature here, I swear that said Andy Warhol.
Andy Warhol?
Yeah, Andy Warhol, silver screen, hanging on my wall. Hall.
Now you're confusing me.
It's okay. I know where I recognise those faces.
What?
That's Bettina and Tappy. I swear it is.
What? I can't take it in. First you're telling us we've got an Andy Warhol original on our wall, and now you're saying it's Bettina and Tappy?
Well, yes. I mean, looks like it to me back in, I don't know, late 60s, early 70s.
But actual Warhol?
Well, I don't know. I'm no expert. Let's not say anything to Lulu at the moment, in case it turns out I'm wrong.
Surely Bettina or Tappy would know if they'd been painted by Andy Warhol.
Well, they were friends with him. At least they knew him. They're always going on about how they miss Andy and stuff like that.
Why don't you take a photo and ping it over to Bettina?
Yeah, I think I could do. I will do, but don't mention it to Lulu. It might turn out to be a load of nonsense. I'll just take a picture. There we go. That looks all right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks fine, Paul.
But yeah, I'll just send it to. I'll send it to Bettina. No point in bothering Tappy about it. They'll be asleep still over there.
Asleep?
Because of the time difference.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
There, I'll send it to Bettina.
But what would a Warhol be doing at a flea market in Chopham?
I don't know. Martin, I really don't know. Bettina's replying. She says, wow. And she sent me a picture. Why she sent me the picture? Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
What now, Paul?
Look at this.
What?
Well, she sent a photo. Well, the photo that the picture is based on.
Yeah, let me see. You're right. Well, it must be it. So it is them.
It is them. I'm going to give her a call.
Please do. Oh, is everything all right in there?
Everything's fine, Tallulah. Just giving Bettina a quick call.
Oh, send her my love.
I will do. Oh, dear, where is she?
Paul, is that you?
It is me, yes. I didn't know that you'd been painted by Warhol.
Well, to be honest, nor did I.
What? What do you mean? Surely you'd remember if Andy Warhol had painted you.
Oh, darling, I don't remember hardly anything from that period. We used to hang out at Andy's at the factory now and again. I guess he could have painted us. I mean, it might have been him who actually took that photo.
Oh, yes, it was a Polaroid, wasn't it? I think he used to use Polaroids.
Yes, darling, yes, well, community service, eh? Where on earth did you find the painting?
Well, it doesn't belong to me, it belongs to Tallulah.
I didn't know Tallulah was an art collector. She must be making a good deal of money to be able to afford a Warhol.
Well, well, this is the thing. She found it at a flea market in Chopham.
In Chopham?
Yes, just down the road. She and Martin went to some flea market. She bought it. She said because of the colours. She didn't realise it was you. It was just me who saw it on the wall and thought, aren't those faces familiar? And then I realised when I saw Warhol, I thought, well, I knew that you and Tappy had known him.
Well, yes, of course. We were always at the parties, darling. He borrowed one of my jackets once for a fashion show and never gave it back.
Oh, but the thing is, what makes me wonder, I just can't believe you can't remember being painted.
Well, the thing is, darling, if he was always taking photos, one didn't always realise he was going to turn it into art. As much as we did know him, we weren't really part of the factory crowd, I mean, maybe that painting is just a test, testing out a style or a colour or a paint. I mean, I don't think we were ever going to be one that, was going to end up in the galleries, darling.
Well, it's lovely, though. It's great.
Well, I'm glad you like it, darling.
Well, we don't know whether we should tell Tallulah, though. We were hoping you'd be able to say, yes, oh, definitely, we remember being painted. I mean, what if it's a fake?
Oh, darling, I don't know. You'll just have to get it valued, won't you? It's funny it's that picture, though. I had that album out the other day when Ick and Yeti Uncle John came over.
Yeti Uncle John's been at your house with Ick? What, you were showing them photos?
Yes, darling. Photos from back in the day. I remember Yeti Uncle John being particularly interested by that one of Tappy and I. I'd almost forgot I still had it.
And how long ago was this? A couple of weeks ago?
Oh, more than that. Maybe a month ago.
No, it's just... I don't know. I don't like to jump to conclusions, but do you think August would know a genuine Andy Warhol if he saw it?
Darling, I'm not sure. I don't think he paints, but I don't know that he's not an art critic. You really need to take it in somewhere.
No, I'm just wondering. I don't know if we want to put ourselves through all that, I'm just thinking, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. Maybe I'm making 5. It's just, you know what Yeti Uncle John's like, with his, with fakes, fake comics and, things he gets off eBay. He's always giving poor old Ryan in Canada problems by, trying to sell him knockoffs.
Are you saying that Yeti Uncle John painted this?
I don't know. It's a screen painting, so it's not like he painted it. I've never actually known Yeti Uncle John to do painting. He never spoke to August about painting, did he?
No, darling, I don't think so. Oh, what? You're saying that Yeti Uncle John may have got hold of that... I mean, the photo's still here. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, but maybe I don't know. Did he take a photo?
Well, he was nosing around in that album for a couple of hours, I think, but I was talking with Ick, so I didn't really pay much attention.
Okay, so we're jumping to conclusions, but somehow Yeti Uncle John, he took various different photos and he painted the picture and then, I don't know, sold it to a flea market.
Well, wouldn't the flea market have charged more than 20 quid?
Or maybe they didn't realise it was a Warhol or a fake Warhol. I don't know.
Oh, this is becoming increasingly confusing, darling.
I'm going to have to go and speak to him, though, I think.
Oh, my goodness. This is a right old palaver, isn't it, Paul?
Potentially it could be, Martin. I guess we need to find out, because what if this was some sort of test he was doing? Next thing we know, he'll be selling fake Warhols to galleries, or trying to. He'll end up back in Shane jail or something. I mean, I think Warhol painted lots of, hundreds and hundreds of things. So I guess someone somewhere knows what's a genuine and what isn't. But, I mean, I've seen a few Warhols in my time, galleries and things, and I was immediately drawn to it by seeing it. I mean, this could just have been a test. What if he's going to start... Oh, I don't know.
Oh, darling, calm down. Yeti Uncle John's not that stupid. As you say, you're putting 2 and 2 together. You might be making 5.
Might be making 5. I don't know. But it's complicated. Look, I'll speak to Yeti Uncle John and try and find out one way or another.
Oh, yes, you do that. But don't rush to accuse him of something.
Don't worry, I'll be very subtle.
All right, well, do. I'll speak to you later.
I'll speak to you later, Bettina. Bye for now.
Oh, my goodness, Paul. This has started up quite a drama.
Yes, well... Look, I'm going to go over to find Yeti Uncle John. He'll probably be at Ix, because he always is these days. Listeners, I've got something to share with you. It kind of links in with, people buying things, old stuff off eBay and flea markets and things. It's a little chat that Nick and I did recently about another one of those old looking magazines from the 70s that I picked up off eBay. Yeah, so I'm going to share that chat with you. When we come back, I might be with Yeti Uncle John. We'll just have to see.
Do you want me to come with you, Paul?
No, it's fine. I think I should speak to him. Oh dear. Sort this mess out once and for all.
Probably a good idea. Just don't mention anything to Tallulah.
No, I won't do. Listeners, have a listen to this clip. Hello again, Nick. We've got another edition of Looking to discuss. I'm picking this from my pile of... I'll have to try and work out which ones we did in the live 548 show last year, so we don't cover the same ones again. But I think this is what we have.
Know. We might have different things to say about them. Of course, the main difference with the Private 48 one and this one is you're actually looking at it, I'm not.
Yes. Well, this is also from 1978. It's much further down the year. It's issue 37, 9th of September 1978. It was released on a Thursday. It cost 10p, and on the front cover is it's the Return of the Saint with Ian Ogilvy. Colour pin-up. Most of these pin-up stones haven't survived. I think people stuck them on the wall. So, but there's also
it's nice. It's nice that they were pinned up. It was quite nice.
There's also all-action picture strips with the famous five, the Bionics. It just says the Bionics, presumably both of them. And
they obviously didn't have room to put Bionic Man and $6 million man.
Takes up quite a lot. The inside page is an advert for Sabutio, which is football, so we're not going to discuss that. Can I just say, Return of the Saint? Yeah, I remember it around that time, but I was very late coming to it. So I don't know quite. Obviously, Sunday evening, I think it was Sunday evenings it was on. I was, getting ready for school or whatever, but I didn't come into I didn't really take much notice of Return of the Saint until I heard that Mary Tam was going to be in it. Now, of course, Mary Tam was Doctor Who's current companion at the time, and I kind of rather liked her. And so I watched an episode with that, and I was instantly fell in love with music. In fact, I did a little dance to the music. I used to usher everybody out of the room so I didn't look silly, because I didn't want people to take the wee-wee out of me. And I used to dance to the music and bring everybody in. And I actually told Ian Ogilvy that, because we did a Skype star event during lockdown. And, he was saying to me, what age were you when you watched it? And I said 10. He said, yeah, I think that's about the optimum time to be watching it, even though I've got the box set and I still enjoy it now. So. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing childish about it. Then we've got, the first strip we've got is the Benny Hill page, and this time he's playing Cousin Hamish, he's a Scottish relative. Then in Stu Potts' news desk, your autumn TV viewing starts here. So Return of the Saint was a new series then. Well, it was...
That's right.
A new series, totally new. And then there's also mention of the Rag Trade, which had been a BBC show in the 60s, but had transferred over to ITV. And this was the second ITV season. Apparently the first one was a big success.
That's right. I remember Rag Trade. I don't remember the original, and I was told by my mum about the original. And I remember, it's curious, because there was a picture of... Oh, Carlin, what's her name? I can't remember her first name.
Miriam
Carlin, that's right. There was a picture of her in the the TV Times in the previous year. And for some bizarre reason, I remember doing a sketch of it. And I don't know why, because, she wasn't exactly a pin-up of mine, but I just randomly did a picture. And there was, she was later better known as the ghost in So Haunt Me. The TV series, and I think Peter Jones of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fame was the boss in it, as I remember. Can't remember much more about it, but yes, that was a Rag Trade. Yes,
there's also a new season of George and Mildred starting up. I'm not quite sure what season they're up to in 78, but then we've got a more. I'm not sure if this is a competition, or whether it's just an advert. There's Busby, that was post office at the post office bird.
That's right.
There's a watch and a clock that you can buy. I'm not sure if it's...
Busby was huge at the time. He advertised, what was it called back then? British Telecom or BT or, there's something of those things. But he was a little bird that advertised, and I think I could be getting this wrong, but I think he was voiced by Richard Bryars, or am I thinking of Griffin, who was the Midlands Griffin? But it was somebody famous, so famous I've forgotten them. But Busby was huge.
We've also got this again, I'm sorry, I just can't imagine many 8-year-olds being into Jimi Hendrix, considering he died quite a few years before. They're advertising an essential Jimi Hendrix album.
I think, I mean, kids, I think they always, even if something wasn't hot and happening, they always tried to get kids interested in things. And I don't know, I mean, I can't remember the nostalgic value of, how many people looked back. I mean, people, apart from the 50s revival, I can't remember people looking back at all, but they must have done. But I know that, obviously, they were very loyal to Elvis. After he died, they did a 1 year on, and they kept him very much in the frame. And I suppose I remember Elvis before he died, but I kind of tend to think of him as more of a 50s, 60s kind of thing than a 70s one.
I guess, obviously in the 80s, I was very keen on the 60s and was all for looking back. But I was pretty much in isolation amongst my friends in that respect.
Yeah.
But they're not because my other friends were listening to modern music. I don't think my friends were that interested. My friends at school, I don't think were that interested in music. And if anything, they slowly became interested when I started to expand my musical taste into more modern stuff. There's also an advert for Olivia Newton-John fan club. And also somebody who suggests that Mary Tyler Moore and Stephanie Powers look very similar, which
I can't remember enough about Mary Tyler Moore to comment, really.
I said that I said before that when we were recording, somebody was asking for an American pen friend, and I wasn't sure how many Americans were seeing Look In. The person who suggests that Mary Tyler Moore and Stephanie Powers look similar lives in Malaysia, so I don't know whether they picked up this on holiday or whether there were areas. You
do have to wonder, don't you? I mean, I don't know how widely. It was widely available in this country, but I really don't know how far out it went.
Next page is football, so we skip that. Then we have the $6 Million Man. I think, what is he doing?
He did an adventure around this time, which I pride myself. I remember a lot of his adventures, but there was one he did with an Oriental gentleman, and which I've totally forgotten.
Can't see
and I think it might be around. Then.
I can read the posing as a crook who hijacks a consignment of stolen industrial diamonds. Steve is in Hong Kong. His mission to discover the mysterious man behind the Oriental end of the smuggling ring. Things go wrong, and he's a hunted man from the start.
I don't. That's a very rare occasion where I don't remember that story at all. I don't know why. It's strange because I could tell you what comes next, but I can tell you what comes after that, or even before that. But I simply don't remember that story.
Then we have stamps. And we have another word search, and we have the strange bunny who wants you to make bean and macaroni savoury.
Anything to oblige.
Yeah. Then we've got the famous 5. They're on Keepaway Island. They think they've seen it.
It was such a wonderful Enid Blyton type. Again, the artwork was very good. So good that the Gary Russell, who was in it, who as a very big name on Doctor Who. Actually, his Facebook profile is the Mike Noble artwork of him as Dick in the famous 5. So I think he's quite proud he was a Look-In picture strip, as indeed I would be.
They're trying to go down a well. Then we've got a picture in Ogilvy in black and white. Looks like there might have been something else that's missing, maybe a colour pin-up. Then we've got jokes with Stu Pot and mixture of cartoons. What is black and dangerous and lives up a tree? A crow with a machine gun. What goes 100 miles per hour on the seabed? A motor pike and side carp. How do you hire a horse? Stand it on 4 bricks. Did you hear about the Irish she-scout? His tent sank. Where does a 10-foot gorilla sit? Anywhere he likes. Dear, oh dear. Then we have...
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
We have Logan's Run, black and white strip. This looks like a different artist.
Yeah, he was quite a stark artist, but quite minimalist. But I thought he had a nice punchy style. I think it was a very short-lived strip, but I have a feeling, if I remember rightly, during that autumn there were, because basically it was Logan's Run with Francis, the main character who was chasing Logan, actually survives, where he doesn't survive in the film, and he goes with this Sandman, which is the henchman, and he tracks them down all over post-apocalyptic America, and I think they're dealing with some sort of Viking-y, tribesman-y kind of people in that one. Or was it Piranhas? Yeah.
Well, no, that's I think. I mean, I think there is a sort of. They almost look
I've got a feeling that was the last one. And I'll tell you something weird. If I remember them rightly, at the end of that story, they all get out alive, but the Sandman actually capture them and take them back to. So presumably, they're actually taken back and killed. Because everybody dies. Everybody at 30 dies in Logan's Run, and I do remember that being a weird end to the strip, because the baddies actually capture them, and you think, oh right, they're not going to get out of this one. But I could be misremembering that, but
then we've got a smaller half-page Jerry Anderson, and also an article on guinea pigs. We've got a quiz, which is sort of a mixture of music, actors, TV type questions. Then we've got a nice colour strip of the Bionic Woman. It says the fight continues when Jamie Summers is planted as a stunt girl in director Carl Menninger's film unit. Her mission is to find the enemy spy. Yeah, is believed to be working there.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that story. And the wife gets jealous and has a punch up with her on the edge of a cliff. I remember that very well. And she's got wonderfully butch lines like, I'm my career's already mapped up, sister. I was going to go. That's a nice story, actually. Yeah,
the knife and everything.
You wouldn't even he used to say that.
You wouldn't even better show you wouldn't better show a knife on a kids' TV program, let alone have it.
You had horrible faces with masks ripped off. You had knives. You had blood. We grew up the full works. Whereas I think if I'd had Looking 10 years later, it would have been very anaesthetised.
This is very Sutton Park. The last panel has a. I'm not sure if you're supposed to see the face of the person. It's somebody holding the knife, and it's
right. Yeah,
Miss Snooping
Miss Summers. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yes.
Then we have on the next page colour, Star Award Bonanza, something to do with people winning Looking Awards, and Joanna. Joanna Lumley won one, yeah. Yeah, she won Top TV Personality, and Richard O'Sullivan had won the male version for Dick Turpin,
which hadn't even been shown then.
Weird.
I mean, they didn't start showing Dick Turpin until beginning of beginning of
maybe the
79.
Maybe the photo is just from Dick.
I think he would have been better known as Robin in Robin's Nest at the time. But of course, he would have been filming Dick Turpin at the time, so maybe they sort of.
Yeah, that's where it's because the pictures show them holding their awards. Top TV sports star was Barry Sheen. He was motorbikes, wasn't he?
Yes.
Then, top family program. Gosh, you wouldn't think of this as a family program now. Mind Your Language.
Yeah, it was big. It was enormous. We in these politically correct times, we revile Mind Your Language, but it was hugely popular. It was enormous.
Top comedy light entertainment program is Run Around.
Run Around.
And then top TV pop stars and special award. Top record goes to Brotherhood of Man for Figaro. Then top drama program, The Ghosts of Motley Hall. Top music.
Called that a drama program.
Top music program, Get It Together. Never heard of that. Boy North and Linda.
Vaguely. Yeah, I think I remember. The one memory I have, the only memory I have of that is it had Ollie Beak, who was a puppet from the 60s. So kind of what he was doing on there, I do not know.
And then Top General magazine program, Magpie. And this is the era with Mick Robertson, Jenny Hanley, and Tommy Boyd.
I think that Susan Stranks had left by then, by the looks of it.
Dear. Mick Robertson, I know for having curly hair, but Tommy Boyd looks, his hair is even more permed.
It is. Well, I think it was still permed when, was it? Because he did continuity announcements for the children's TV in the 90s when I was watching Press Gang.
I remember him having being on a show, but I don't remember him having quite so bubbly hair. Then we have black and white comic strip of Doctor on the Go. Someone's holding a gun to them. But,
I think they did have the odd kind of villains, and I think there was. I think it was probably, if I remember rightly, it was probably coming to an end at the time. I think Mind Your Language took over from it, but Doctor on the Go was there for years. I think I sort of joined up in '75, and Doctor on the Go had been going for years then.
Yeah.
And it was one of the, like Space 1999, it was one of those very strange series where I was I saw the picture strip long before I saw the series. We didn't get the series in our region until 77, by which time I knew all the characters because I'd been introduced to them. In the same way, Space 1999 turned up very late, and I'd already been reading the picture strip for a year before I saw the first episode. So, yeah, it's very curious seeing all these supposed cartoon characters come to life.
Other than the TV listings, that's pretty much it for that one.
What are you accusing me of? I'm accusing you of faking a Warhol. Who? Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol? Oh, that friend of Bettina's? He's a bit more famous than that. I mean, he does have a bit of an existence outside of knowing Bettina and Tappy. Well, what did you say happened? This painting that I texted you, you saw it? Yes, I recognise it. You recognise it? It was found at a flea market in Chobham, and Tallulah bought it. She was there with Martin. When I saw it, I recognised it as a Warhol, or at least a Warhol style, and I recognised it was Bettina in the picture. And then I rang her, and she said that you and Nick had been over, and you'd been looking at her old photos. So I put two and two together, and I thought, I know what Yeti Uncle John's done. He's done a forgery, and he's tried to sell it to a gallery. Well, it's not a gallery, Paul. It's a flea market. It's the same thing. They only sold it for 20 quid, so they obviously weren't that impressed. I didn't know you had any artistic talent. Paul, will you stop, please? Before you say anything, I'll put my hands up and I'll say, yes, it was me, but it wasn't me. Yes, it was you, but it wasn't you. I don't understand. Look, this all started very innocently. Look, I did sell the painting, and there was one or two others. I sold them, but I didn't think they were particularly good. They only gave me a tenner for each. Well, I thought it looked pretty good. I thought it looked pretty authentic. I also thought that, Andy Warhol painted a lot of pictures, and there'll be people out there who don't know what's a real Warhol and what isn't. I thought you might be taking advantage or working up to some big plan. I just thought that picture was really nice. And I thought it would be nice turned into a painting. But then the final result I didn't think was so good. I was going to present it to Bettina. In fact, that was one of the rejects. They have been perfecting them, and there will be a finished picture that I will present to her eventually. Really. Sorry, you said they. Yes, they. Who? Well, I didn't paint it, did I? I don't know anything about art. I know about August, and that's about it. Look, you've told me that it's in the Andy Warhol style. Well, I don't even know about Andy Warhol. So, if that is the case, that's not me. That's them. That's not me. That's them. Who? I didn't paint the picture. I provided the photo, but I didn't paint it. Well, who did? Oh, I thought that'd be obvious from the brushstrokes. It's the magpies. You what? The magpies. The magpies painted that picture. And if it's in the Warhol style, that's them. That's on them, not me. They obviously know a lot more about art than I do. And, well, you know, I just noticed, you know, over the last few months that they are quite artistic. And I thought that maybe they might like to take it up. So the ones that I flogged down at the flea market are their early attempts. I didn't think they were that good. But then maybe I don't know what is a good Warhol style. I don't know. Goodness me. Yeti Uncle John. I can't believe it. The magpies painted that picture. The one in Tallulah's living room. Yes, Paul. We only got a tenner each. They have improved, though. I will be, as I say, presenting Bettina with a copy eventually. But I didn't know. I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know about the Warhol thing. Oh, Yeti Uncle John. Well, maybe I have put two and two together. Are you sure you're not lying? I'm not lying.
He's not lying, Paul. I saw them do it. I don't know anything about art either. And, well, it wouldn't have occurred to me to have said, golly, that looks like an Andy Warhol painting.
Well, I believe you, Ick, if you saw it happening.
It's fantastic. I've never seen birds paint before. They kind of hold the brushes in their wings.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You should watch sometime. Well, that is fantastic. I would like to see it. I just had an awful feeling that you were trying to do a load of knockoff Andy Warhols and you'd get into trouble. It is a bit unfortunate that the magpies are painting in a style that's known, because there is actually a signature at the bottom that looks very much like Andy Warhol's signature. Blimey. Now, that's too coincidental. Oh dear, maybe they've been learning bad habits off me.
Oh, Yeti Uncle John.
Maybe my magpies are forgers. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Yeti Uncle John. You have to be very careful. Magpies are known for their little tricks. So you're probably right. They obviously know a lot about art, and they're forging Warhols. You're going to have to stop them, not encourage them, or encourage them to do something in their own style, if they have one. Oh, blimey. How many of these paintings have you sent to the flea market? About 12, but they're all different versions of the, you know, I just got rid of all the canvases. I didn't want to keep them. They were basically Tappy and Bettina pictures.
Yeti Uncle John, you could have painted over them.
Oh, that would just been too much. Oh, for goodness sake. I would just have to think about this, because, I mean, the fact that they forged his signature, it's going to get us into trouble. They won't know. They can't trace them back to me. Possibly not. Oh, dear, you're going to have to be very careful what those magpies paint, though. Next thing you know, you have a load of, constables or I don't know, Surat paintings in your living room. Constables? What, you mean the police? No, John Constable, the paint... don't worry about it. You obviously don't know anything about art, do you? Oh, I don't know anything about art, no.
Oh, golly. You're going to have to watch those magpies, Yeti Uncle John.
Yes, I clearly am. But honestly, Paul, I did not do any of this deliberately. It was all supposed to be a present for Bettina.
Not long until her birthday. She has a significant birthday coming up later this year.
She does she? I didn't know about that.
Oh, yes, Paul. It's a real big one.
Golly. No, I did not know that. We must do something.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, yeah. That's why I wanted the painting. It's rather giving it away. Now Tallulah's got one of the earlier versions. Look, don't worry about that. We'll sort it out. It'll all be fine. Listeners, we've got another chat with Nick coming up. Another edition of Lookin'. So, yeah, why don't you have a listen to that? when we come back, it'll probably be the end of the episode. So, yeah, it's all fine. It'll all be fine. Sure it will be. Those blooming magpies. So we have another look in here, also from 78, which we've been looking at from recently. I don't think we've done this one. Tried to go for one that sort of fits in between the ones we've discussed recently. So not beginning of the year, not end of the year. I've gone for June. The cover isn't that inspiring for me nor for you, because it's a football one. But I thought we'll get past that. It's edition number 24, 10th of June, 78. So there's
June. Oh, yeah. It was around this time. I think it was one in June. So I remember reading Look-In when my dad came in and told me that the contract had been signed and we were leaving where we lived in Tollgate Road and moving to Harlem. So I would associate that with reading Look-In for June 78. So.
Yeah, there's that's quite good. The advert on the inside page is for a Charlie's Angels corgi car, which you could get. I think I would quite like that. Actually, then we have Benny Hill. This time he's called Uncle Sid, and he works on a steam train. Then we have Muppet Double is Donald Moffat from Logan's Run. Looks very much like Sam the Eagle.
Ish, yeah. So Donald Moffat basically was the android Rem in which he didn't appear in the original film, but he was the older character that the sage of the bunch, in the same way that Ustinov was in the film.
World Cup fever. Look into that. The album of the week is Angela Rippon reading Black Beauty.
Oh, gosh! They had talking books even then. It's actually you think of that as a sort of something that's come in the last 30 odd years, but there's nothing new under the sun.
It's advertised mention of a series called The Bubblies. But apparently it's a show that's only shown in certain areas of the country at the moment. The characters are called Mr. Centigrade, Melody Gwyn, Glugbug, and Cuthbert. Hooray, right, the name Cuthbert.
I don't remember that at all.
They're characters in a series of 4-minute animated films, each one a story in itself.
Good heavens.
Oh, yeah, apparently Gareth Hunt is a fan. I don't know if he works.
I don't remember that at all. Not at all.
But there's a few books mainly about horse riding. There is Our Verdict on the Hulk. A weird atmosphere hangs over ITV's newest series, which starts this Saturday. Is this when Incredible Hulk started? Sure.
I thought he was much earlier in 78, but I don't know. Maybe not. I definitely remember associating with 78, but I thought he had already started by then.
Unfortunately, the $6 Million Man strip's been pulled in half. There must have been a poster on the other side. Looks like it's the wrestling one you were mentioning.
That's right. Yes, he goes in with all in wrestlers, and they have wonderfully cod names like the Chunk and the Ape, and
I feel like
and of course he's they set upon him to for him to prove himself as a wrestler, and of course he thrashes them all.
Yeah. I feel like we've seen another segment of this in one of our other chats, because that rings
Yes,
about.
I think we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is the last episode of that one.
Yeah. Next one after that would be the second. I think, as me showing off here, it would be the second Toymaker story.
I feel like we've seen some of those as well.
Yeah.
What Stupot's awful jokes? What's black and yellow and goes zub zub zub? A bee flying backwards. What lies shaking you? What lies shaking?
It's a nervous rake. Yeah, a nervous wreck. Yeah.
Doctor, my mother thinks she's an orange. Well, bring her in then. I can't. She's playing squash. There we've got some football stuff and a word search. Then we've got the man from Atlantis. More danger ahead for Mark. It looks like he's on an island with some
yes, I think
with blowpipes and things.
Yeah, that was the sort of, there's a despotic tribesman, I think, and he and his friend who he rescues from certain death were captured. And I remember, I remember that one quite well.
A lot of fighting with snakes.
Yes, there's a huge snake at the end.
Then we've got Sabutio, more football. Then we've got Logan's Run. Rem keeps his cool in a crisis. There's a dinosaur.
I think they have a time machine. I think that's a story where they have a time machine. I think they go back and they go to modern day Earth as well, modern day America.
And then we have like half page Jerry Anderson. It's hard to work out what the half page ones are actually about, because he's not being asked questions. It's just sort of a picture with, I don't know if it's and then Wildlife World. That's actually Windsor Safari Park. Then there's a quiz. Some of these films they're talking about, you think, would they have seen these films? Because they're a bit adult.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Then we got the.
I know they really did kind of push it a bit with some of those. You think, would children really have seen that?
Also, there's a question about Kraftwerk. Again, I think of them as more band that had adult fans rather than kiddie fans. But then we have a Bionic Woman strip, which is in colour and survives. It looks like Jamie knows that Karsh, the master assassin, with an incredible device codenamed Pinball, is out to kill Alexei a high Russian official holidaying in Switzerland. Bobsleigh.
That's the last thing we want at the moment. But yeah, I remember that's I liked that one because you had a particularly nutty baddie and a gadget, machine and a weapon, which I just my cup of tea, really.
And it ends with the baddie being on like a ski lift and Jamie's saying, "Your time's up."
And like all 70s baddies, all respectable 70s baddies, he is bald as coot.
Then we have a colour picture and an article about Sheila B. Devotion, who I think she has quite well. She's French. I think she's been going for years. I think this is just a part of her career, but for a lot of people, it's possibly all they know about her. But she was doing a cover of a disco version of "Singing in the Rain."
Oh yes, I am. Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
And then we've got Doctor on the Go in black and white. He seems to be being tormented by his conscience, or at least at the beginning he is.
Oh yes, that's right. There's something to do about some money, or because he had a little demon and a little angel. I can't remember the details, but it was something to do with paying back some money or something. But
and then we have the ITV programs of the week with all the different regions. Anglia, Border, Channel, Grampian, Granada, HTV, etc., and many more. And how different it was in some regions, what they got to see compared to what other. Who Done It was still going.
With John Pertwee, I think.
John Pertwee, yeah. Charlie's Angels, the Sullivans. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for that edition. We managed to escape the World Cup stuff mostly. But,
yeah. Which had a very nice theme, but music is the only redeeming feature of football.
Sorry for listeners who like football.
Yeah, I know.
It's my show.
Yeah, exactly. Neither of us.
It was inflicted on us for years at school. So
it was
our revenge. Now I'm in power.
Yes.
I'm just out. It's banned. Go. Nothing in the world will stop me now. Anyway, well, I'm sure we'll talk about some more look-ins and probably go to a different year. I've got a number of different. I've got all those ones to talk about on the DVD drive I've got as well. Some of the early ones. But anyway, maybe next time we're going to do it in person.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and
my pleasure.
We'll hand back to whatever else is going on.
Duffy, darling, it's me, Bettina. How are you doing?
Oh, lovely, dear. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, darling. I was just calling because I expect you saw my email. It's all been blowing up over here in the UK with that painting that turned up of you and I.
Oh, it's quite extraordinary.
It's a shame in a way that it turns out it wasn't painted by Andy, just in the Andy Warhol style. But I can't believe the Magpies are such good painters, though. But I think Yeti Uncle John was a little bit worried that because they actually forged Andy's signature, and he thought he'd get the blame for it. But I think it's all died down now. But it did remind me of those days we used to spend down at the factory. Oh, darling. Oh, gosh.
Oh, yes, those were memories. Andy was such a dear to us, don't you think?
Yes, he was. And even though the painting didn't turn out to be genuine, I do have the Polaroid that he took of us, which the painting is based on. So we may not have a painting, as far as we know. He never did a painting of us, but he was always taking Polaroids, and to have a Polaroid taken by Andy is almost as good as having a painting, I think. I wish there was more than one. It's just lucky that I have the copy. But I mean, really, it belongs to you just as much as it belongs to me.
Oh, well, aren't you, dear? Sometime when we're together, dear, you must bring it with you so that I can have a look-see in person.
Yes, I've got so many photos that of years ago. I've been going through them. I think for years I kept them up in the attic, and I wasn't always sure about looking back to them because, you weren't in my life anymore, and it made me sad. But since we've been friends again, I've been going through them and laughing, and I wish you were sitting next to me. Yes, you're right. I must bring them over. We can just. I don't know if you know. You probably do know, darling, but I have a significant birthday later in the year, so I want to do a massive party, but I don't want to talk about it. I talk about it with you, but I don't want to make a big fuss with everybody else, really, but you and I should celebrate. But...
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't think of not celebrating it.
But that might be a good opportunity for me to bring the albums over. But we'll see near the time, darling. Maybe we can go away. I'm not sure. But but such happy memories. And
oh, absolutely. Oh my, I love thinking about those days.
Oh, yes, there's parties. Studio 54 as well. That's a bit later, but...
That was a blast, as the kids say.
Do you remember that we bumped into Damius there working as a waiter, but we didn't know he was Damius then? I think he was doing it. He was working on a part. We were often in films together, but he was doing completely different type of work, and I wasn't always aware of who he was, but he was often around the studio.
Well, I think that was the time he was portraying a pitcher of beer.
Yes, I think so. Oh, he's so talented. My lovely August. Of course, we called him Damius back then. Oh, dear.
You know, I was just thinking, Betsy dear, that I think even though Andy didn't have much to do with this painting at all, it strikes me that he would rather like the idea of magpies doing his work for him, because, as you know, he employed so many assistants. Imagine how much more he could have done if he had those magpies working for him.
I know what you mean, and I think he'd have been very impressed with them. I mean, golly, Magpie's painting, it's quite crazy. I love it, but Andy did so much. Who knows? Maybe somewhere there is a painting of us, and we just didn't ever see it. But that's why I think some people believe that it was real. It was so much like, his style. But, oh dear. Oh, it's a funny world we live in, but I celebrate it every day.
As well we should, dear.
Oh dear. Oh, it's good to chat, but I'm sure we've got more gossip to share. But I think the listeners are listening in, and so I think we should send them on their way. We've got girl talk to do here. Sorry, lovies.
That's right, you naughty listeners listening in. Off with you now.
Goodbye. Anyway, Tappy, did you hear? I heard some really juicy gossip about, you know who I mean, and I think that you'll find it. Oh, yes, I know.
Oh, yes, that's clever. Oh, my goodness, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about her.
Oh my goodness, Paul. It is quite incredible. I did not know. Well, no, none of us knew. Oh, I can't, for once, Yeti Uncle John seems relatively innocent. I mean, he provided them with a photo, or a copy of the photo. Little did he know that they were such, forgers, and did it in the style of Andy Warhol, who he doesn't know anything about, and didn't know what a Warhol painting would appear to be like. He really is an idiot. Paul, that's not very nice. I don't think one knows what a Warhol painting looks like, other than Yeti Uncle John and Eek. Yes. Those magpies, though, golly. I'm just worried, that the paintings may turn up somewhere. They may go from the flea market to a gallery, and then, suddenly, I know. It only takes somebody disreputable to find them and buy them. And, I mean, the person at the flea market had no idea either. So maybe people don't know what Warhols are supposed to look like. The thing is that's really bad is that the magpies, they falsified his signature. So it was a definite attempt to try and pass it off as a Warhol. Anyway, well, let's just hope nothing happens. Did you say anything to Lula? No, we've not mentioned it. We've just, we did sort of tell her that we thought that the women in the paintings were Tappy and Bettina. But, I mean, the fact that Bettina has the original Polaroid, which may have been taken by Andy, I mean, that's valuable in itself. That is valuable. Yes, but how do you know that Andy Warhol took that photo? Well, this is it. I mean, you can't see the person. I don't want to be mean, but it's a case of the person taking the photo is more famous than the focus of the photo, if you know what I mean. They understand. Anyway, listeners, that's what we've got time for. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed the chats about old magazines as well, about old-looking editions. That was fun to record. Thanks to Nick for that. And anyway, that's what we've got time for. We've got plenty of episodes in the can. So we'll be back again soon. You take care. And don't let any magpies paint any fake Warhol paintings for you. It just ends up in trouble. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye for now. Goodbye, listeners. Goodbye for now. Goodbye.
Well, what a strange story. Oh, Martin, I never have guessed it. I know, Mum. We just picked it up at that, that flea market and didn't think twice. I just liked it because of the colours. Oh, Bettina, I can't believe it. I know, darling. Oh, it's funny. Oh, there's quite a story behind it all, it would seem. Yet Uncle John was involved, but it was his magpies that actually drew the whole thing. Still, golly. I guess it's a nice little trinket to have. Oh, yes, it's lovely. Oh, it's so nice to think I've got a picture of you and Tappy on my living room wall. You look so stylish. Oh, such a long time ago, though, darling. I'm glad I've seen it, though. Golly. You know, close up, they did a very good job. You'd almost think it was the real thing. No wonder Paul was shocked. I think he'd been watching that documentary about Warhol on Netflix. I'm not surprised if Uncle John was involved. Oh, yes, but to be fair, he perhaps didn't realise quite what a fuss was going to be caused by it all. But there you go. Very nice, very nice. I'm surprised, August didn't come with you. You know, he might have had an opinion. Oh, I don't know. He's not very good with rivals. And I think those magpies are definitely rivals. Very nice. Very nice. But, yes. Still, thank you for showing it to me, darling. Oh, it's my pleasure, my love. My pleasure. It's always lovely to see you here, Bettina. Although I would have liked to have seen August. Oh, I know, darling. Just obsessed with the garden at the moment, painting it, every last inch of it. Oh well, as long as Uncle August is doing okay. I suppose, yes, he is your uncle, isn't he? Yes, Uncle August. Oh, he is, yes, he is, Uncle August. Oh, you really must send a photo to Tappy. Oh, I think I will, yes. Still, just hope those naughty magpies don't get Uncle John into any more trouble. Ah, well, Uncle John's usually quite capable of getting into trouble on his own. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Oh, dear. Oh, lovely to see Uncle John.
I gotta go now. Bye. Gotta go. Bye.
Goodbye.
This show is part of the Pride 48 network. Find more shows over at pride48.com.
Oh dear, what's going on now? Oh, it's the Shy Life Podcast. Let's go.
I have a voice.
I have a voice.
You have a voice.
You have a voice.
We have a voice.
We have a voice.
Unique voices in podcasting.
UnivazPods.net.
Paul, come and have a look at this. What is it, Comity? It's a newspaper article. Oh dear. What's it saying? Police are looking into some rare Andy Warhol style paintings that have turned up in a flea market. They want to speak to the artist. Apparently the paint was still wet and it left marks all over the place. Things couldn't get any worse. What about Yeti Uncle John? He might get into trouble. No, it's fine. Yeti Uncle John might do what? Oh, you're in the papers, Yeti Uncle John. Oh, I am? What have I done? Well, of course, you haven't actually done anything. Well, to a point you have. Your magpies, those paintings. The one of Bettina, the Andy Warhol one. Oh, it's in the papers? Yes. Apparently, not only were half the paintings still wet, and of course, all sorts of problems at that flea market, but, it's been drawn to the attention of the police. There's some sort of forger on the loose. Oh, blimey. I mean, but, it's quite clear, these pictures, the painting, Andy Warhol never actually did a painting of Bettina and Tappy, not as far as we know. Not as far as we know, yes, but the fact that the magpies put his signature, or a version of his signature, on the painting does suggest that it's not just in the style of Andy Warhol, it's somebody trying to pass it off as an Andy Warhol. Oh dear. I'm not going to get into trouble, am I? No, well, I don't see why you should. It's at a flea market. You didn't leave your address with them or anything, did you? No, but I better not go back there. Blimey, they might dob me in. Oh, Yeti Uncle John. I'm sure it won't come to that. Yes, perhaps don't go back, though. Yeah, I mean, there's no way they could trace you. Anyway, it's not as if you painted them. You just took ownership of them, because your magpies painted them. Yes. And as you said before, it's not like I went to some big gallery trying to pass them off. I just was trying to unload them because, they weren't up to much. Well, I think they actually were much better than you think they are. You just don't know your Andy Warhols from your whatever. Well, that's quite true. I don't. All right, if you say so. Oh dear. Oh, I tried to be good, Paul, and still bad things happen. Well, as I say, you didn't do anything. It was the magpies, and it'll be fine. Just don't admit to it. Don't say anything. It's not like it's your brushstrokes. If anyone came asking, you could show them the magpies at work. Yeah, I could. Although, what if they pretended it wasn't them and just sat there like magpies? Look, let's not worry about it. It's fine. Oh dear. Life on this show is so stressful. Oh, Paul, just relax. I'm trying. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah, Paul Chandler invented the selfie. That's all there is to it.
Listeners, before we go, it's someone's birthday. Can you guess who? He's here. It's Callum.
Does he wear glasses?
No. Callum, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Callum. Happy birthday to Callum. Happy birthday to Callum. Happy birthday to him. No quizzes this time, though. Do you have a nice birthday lunch?
Yeah.
Beef burger.
Yeah, very good.
And booze. Beef burgers and booze.
A welcome treat.
Yay. Well, that's it for this episode anyway. Just had to stop and say happy birthday to Callum. He'll be back soon. Okay. Bye now. Bye.
Oh, kitty, Dee. Purr, kitty. Oh, I love Dee.
539. 539. Well, against my better judgment, here we are. Another episode of the Shylock Podcast. I believe.
Paul ended the show on a cliffhanger.